officers, let me take my leave.
What kind of nonsense is this? Why can't you just speak normally?
Masefara, shut up. You are not the director.
Will you pay attention? You are just about to arrest him.
I shall do no such a thing.
Goodbye.
Oya, umeupdate token mita yako? Ni free. Umesapata SMS kutoka Kenya Power? Sawa. Sasa ni kuweka code 1 kureset. Alafu weka code 2 kuupdate. Karada mtozi kulipishe. Usiachwe gizani nani. Update token mita yako leo. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Kenya Power and Lighting Company.
Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni mwakaribishwa Kenya yetu, hakuna matata.
That song, Jambo Bwana, originally composed by Them Mushrooms. Them Mushrooms, a group that was founded by Teddy Kalanda Harrison. Tonight, we are reporting that music legend Teddy Kalanda Harrison is dead. Teddy Kalanda passed away this afternoon after losing a battle to multiple myeloma cancer. He had been diagnosed with that type of bone marrow cancer way back in 2018. He has been battling that disease, and so tonight we report that he lost the battle. His brother John Katana confirming that he passed on today at around 3:30 in the afternoon. May his soul rest in peace. Well, from wherever you're watching us, I want to warmly welcome you on this dark day for music artists in this country to Prime Edition, coming to you live from Nairobi, Kenya. My name is Mboya, and let's take a look at the summary of our lead stories tonight.
We are in a state where judges are being threatened, they are being stalked, their security is being withdrawn.
We wish to clarify that allocations were ill-intended.
It was administrative, not intimidation, claims acting police boss Gilbert Masengeli on withdrawal of security of judge who sentenced him. A family loses 3 children in Mukuru Kwanjenga fire. President William Ruto chairs the first cabinet meeting of the broad-based government.
The battle is far from over, but I'm confident that with the structures that have been put in place, the ongoing commitment from stakeholders and the continuous improvement of our anti-doping strategies, Kenya will remain a beacon of clean sport.
In sports, Kenya risks World Anti-Doping Agency sanctions for non-compliance following a 93% budget cut. Susan Thuku is our sign language interpreter. Talk to us. Let us know where you're watching us from. Our socials at KBC Channel 1. The National Police Service has denied a plot to intimidate judges following the withdrawal of bodyguards assigned to Justice Lauren Mugambi, terming the move administrative. Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli says that the service made the necessary arrangements to ensure that the safety of Justice Mugambi is guaranteed even after recalling the 2 bodyguards assigned to him for training. And as Timothy Kipnusu reports, Masengeli, however, did not commit on his 6-month jail term handed down by Justice Lawrence Mugambi.
Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli has defended the National Police Service against accusation that it is actively undermining the independence of the judiciary. Masengeli is on the spotlight for skipping court summons and an alleged attempt to retaliate against his sentencing.
Contrary to the allegation by the Judicial Service Commission yesterday that the security details assigned to the Honorable Justice Mugambi has been thrown to intimidate the charge, we wish to clarify that allegation were ill-intended.
On Monday, Chief Justice Martha Koome demanded the reinstatement of Justice Lawrence Mugambi's security, accusing the police of attempting to intimidate judges. Masengeli, in his defense, has maintained that the service had made necessary arrangements to ensure the absence of the said officers does not lead to a security lapse.
The 2 security officers in question are general duty officers, and they were therefore recalled to attend VIP protection, security training, and also were replaced by 2 VIP protection officers from the Judicial Police Unit.
I strongly condemn the intimidation of Honorable Justice Lawrence Mugambi. We must all take cognizance of the appeal processes provided in our laws for any party who feels dissatisfied with a court ruling, rather than resort to revenge missions against the judiciary. Such actions, Mr. Speaker, not only seek to undermine the authority of the courts, the administration of justice, but also suggest that judicial decisions can be influenced by external factors other than the law.
Masengeli is facing a 6-month jail sentence handed down by Justice Mugambi after he allegedly failed to honor court summons. Masengeli says he had been on assignment in the coast and the northeastern regions on the said dates.
It is in the public domain that at the time the Inspector General was summoned to appear in court, he was actively involved in security assessment in the coast and northeastern regions in compliance with the duties that are assigned to him.
The acting Inspector General is holding fort for a substantive police boss whose nomination is set to be considered by Parliament soon.
Mambo yaliyo kotini hatuongei kwa mitandao. Asanteni.
Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
Now moving on, 3 children were burnt beyond recognition after the fire swept through the Mukuru kwa Njenga informal settlement in Embakasi, Nairobi on Monday night. Hundreds of residents were left homeless after the night fire, whose cause is yet to be established. Police have launched investigations into the incident.
A family in Mukuru Njenga slum is mourning the death of 3 children who were burnt beyond recognition after a fire swept through the informal settlement. The Monday night fire left dozens more homeless with property of unknown value destroyed.
Hata kama ingefika njia kuingia hapa ni shida. Feeder road zote zimefungana.
The 3 victims were between 16 and 4 years.
Alimwagilia mafuta na kaweka kiberiti. Na anajulikana huyo mwanamke na tunashangata saa hii. Hajashughulikiwa hata hajashikwa. Tunashindwa kwani serikali inafanya kazi gani? Ukiangalia pale watoto 3 wamechomeka.
Then serikali pia watachunga side yao waone ni nini ilisababisha hiyo moto.
Their mother, a casual laborer, yet to come to terms with the sad reality.
Pata ni msichana wangu amechomeka.
Mama tena akaambia huyo kijana watoto walikuwa watatu. Sasa huyo kijana akamwambia wacha tuchumbue polepole tuangalie kama kuna mwingine. Sasa kuchimbua kijana ndio huyo.
A survivor says she was lucky her house girl reacted on time to rescue her children after her structure was engulfed in fire.
Nimetoka kazi saa 4. Kufika kwa nyumba ni moto tu napatana nayo. Sema kutetemekea kwa mlango. Juu plot imewaka hivi na shanga watu wangu wameenda wapi, nashtuka. Bahati nikapata mama nimeacha watoto ameingia kwa hii plot akajificha na watoto hapo hivyo. Nikashukuru kuangalia nyumba. Sina ni hata nguo sina. Hizi nilikuwa tu jana tangu jana asubuhi. Niko tu hivyo.
The bodies were moved to city mortuary with investigations underway to ascertain the cause of the fire. Meanwhile, the Kenya National Fire Brigades Association stakeholders want Parliament to consider Fire and Rescue Services Professional Bill 2023.
We want to see firemen, firewomen in this country well coordinated, either at a national level or at county level. They must be well trained, they must be well taken care of, they must be well organized. And to achieve this professionalization, we need to give these guys much equipment, much training.
The group says the bill seeks to address emerging challenges on dealing with fires in the modern world.
President William Ruto Tuesday chaired the first meeting of the newly constituted cabinet at State House here in Nairobi, Kenya. The president told cabinet members to participate on issues related to their ministries and in matters of national importance. He advised the cabinet meetings and the committees to take precedence over other engagements.
At the first meeting of the new cabinet under the broad-based government, members were informed that progress had been made on pledges the president had made to the country when he appointed the team, including digitization of public procurement to make it transparent and digitization of the government payroll to eliminate incidences of ghost workers. On the various bills aimed at strengthening accountability in government and the fight against corruption, the meeting was informed that the Attorney General was taking action to ensure that necessary amendments are forwarded to Parliament. The Cabinet was also briefed on the ongoing rollout of the Social Health Authority. Already, 1.2 million Kenyans have registered, while 9 million registered under the National Health Insurance Fund will transition to the new Social Health Authority. The Minister of Interior was directed to help in public education on registration and health benefits through the National Government Administration offices. Additionally, the government committed to ensure that fertilizer will be available in time for the long rain season next year. Already, 522,000 bags of subsidized fertilizer have been procured and distributed for use during the short rain season in central, eastern and western Kenya regions. Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Meanwhile, a section of the opposition wants President William Ruto to immediately order the withdrawal of the new university funding model, terming it an affront to the right to education. Led by NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua, the group also took issue with the government's track record on human rights, economy, and also debt management. JJ Curia puts that story in perspective.
A day after President William Ruto set up a technical team to look into the contentious issues contained in the new university funding model, the opposition now wants the model dropped in its entirety. In their assessment of Kenya Kwanza's 2 years in office, the leaders argued that the model does not only threaten the constitutional right to education, but will also create societal imbalances.
The VSLF model is not just a policy failure. It is an ideological assault on the most vulnerable among us. This shift from public responsibility to private burden is nothing less than a transfer of wealth from the powerless to the powerful.
Today we stand not merely at crossroads, but at the precipice of a profound danger. A moment that demands our courage, our unity, our unyielding resolve to reclaim the destiny that is rightfully ours.
The leaders led by NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua, former Minister Muhisa Kitui and Third Way Alliance party leader Ekuru Okot also took issue with the implementation of the Social Health Insurance Fund, claiming it was a superficial remedy to the myriad challenges affecting Kenya's health sector.
We cannot, in good conscience, allow our people to suffer and die from preventable causes while funds are misallocated and mismanaged. It smells of cartels, and indeed legitimizes cartels in the health sector.
They decried the high cost of living that common households continue to bear, calling on government to contain public debt.
Inflation gnaws at the lifelines of our citizens. With food inflation soaring to a staggering 15%, the basic act of feeding one's family has become a daily struggle for survival. The Kenyan shilling's precipitous fall against the US dollar erodes the mega earnings of hard-working Kenyans.
They have also called on President Ruto's administration to deal decisively with corruption while observing human rights and constitutional principles.
A government's foremost duty is to safeguard the welfare of its citizens, and especially their fundamental rights and freedoms as provided by our foundational principles in Article 10 and the Bill of Rights.
The clandestine dealings with foreign entities, shady entities, such as the 30-year concession of our Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to Adani for a mere $1.8 billion, betray our very sovereignty.
John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
Let's now get an update on that Nairobi hospital strike, and doctors at the Nairobi hospital maintain that their go slow, which started at midnight on Monday, is on, with the medics only attending to critical cases and not making new admissions. Speaking on Tuesday, the doctors vowed to continue pushing for what they term as a need for urgent reforms in the hospital's management. Here is Joseph Wahungu with the details.
We wish to inform all our stakeholders, partners, clients, and general public that the doctors of the Nairobi Hospital are not on strike.
A day after the Board of Management at Kenya Hospital Association downplayed the planned industrial action by doctors at Nairobi Hospital, the Admitting Staff Association representing the hospital's doctors maintain their go-slow is on.
We have had a problem in Nairobi Hospital running over one year now, and I don't need to go over the causes of that. But this is a fight that we must have to save the hospital.
The clause by which any board member should not have any pecuniary interest, no financial deal in the hospital, has been totally neglected.
On Tuesday, the doctors claimed they will not admit new patients at the facility until a fresh board is in place.
And if we say we appointed you, we didn't appoint you to be paid, and you paid yourself, and we don't want you, that's the end. It's as simple as that.
The board should not behave as this is a permanent owner of the association. No, they've been elected to the association. The very people who elected them have the powers to remove them.
The doctors who accused the board of instigating a crisis in the governance at the hospital now want members of the public to join their clamor for change in the management.
I urge the public now, as it is already in the public domain, to come forward, support us, and see that if we can take it to the same height again.
According to the doctors, services at the Nairobi hospital have continued to deteriorate over the last 1 year, while efforts to address their grievances have been ignored. Joseph Wahungu for Prime Edition.
Now, the Office of the Controller of Budget is decrying inadequate budgetary allocation that is impeding the execution of its mandate. The Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, while appearing before the Constitution Implementation Oversight Committee, said that her office was getting roughly 700 million shillings and was not able to conduct monitoring as well as evaluation in all the 47 counties. Here's that report.
Controller of Budget Margaret Nyakango appeared before the Constitution Implementation Oversight Committee to register challenges her office was facing while overseeing the implementation of budgets at the national and county levels. Nyakango decrying inadequate financing of her office, which gets 700 million shillings compared to other constitution and independent offices whose budgets run into billions of shillings. Due to lack of funds, the Controller of Budget submitted her office was only capable of monitoring and evaluating 21 out of 47 counties.
Compare this, the Auditor General's office, which also works around the country, is funded to the extent of almost 9 billion. We are not even 1/10, and we are the flipped side of the Auditor General because we are the gatekeepers.
The monitoring and evaluation exercise revealed non-compliance with the ceiling for the wage bill and the funds being spent outside the budget framework. Nyakango also wants Parliament to amend the Control of Budget Act to allow the office to report on economic developments and levies.
I have made some reports to Senate and now here, and I have highlighted that some of these limiting clauses are not working for us. So indeed, we find ourselves with no teeth to bite.
Nyamira Governor Amos Nyaribo has survived a second impeachment after the county assembly failed to raise the numbers needed to send the county boss packing. 22 ward representatives voted in support of the impeachment motion, but their vote was only one shy of the 23 required to have the motion approved by the assembly. 12 other MCAs voted against the motion, handing the embattled county boss an unlikely lifeline in the seemingly divided assembly. Nyaribo was accused of illegally employing 2 directors at the Human Resource Department, conspiracy to defraud the county through payroll, among many other things.
It's a disobedience of a court order, a court of competent jurisdiction. It's only that same order, that same court which has issued an order, which can make a finding that indeed some particular person or individual has violated or disobeyed its own order.
No nexus has been exhibited in this motion to show the linkage between the alleged action and the conduct of the governor.
Why did the governor accept to pay back the money if at all that was a blame of the Human Resource Department, Mr. Speaker? And it could be that the Department of HR could have paid back the money, Mr. Speaker.
Ningeomba sana tuambie ilikuwa inahitaji nini na nini ndio hii timu ifike hapa, Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Straight into the corridors of justice now, where over 30 members of the county assembly from Wajir and Mandera counties have filed a habeas corpus at the Milimani High Court in Nairobi, Kenya, regarding the alleged abduction of Dela Ward member of county assembly Yusuf Hussein last Friday. The leaders say that efforts to trace Hussein have been futile and that they now want him produced in court, dead or alive. Details in the Scales of Justice segment.
Exactly 5 days in the Delaware DMC of Wajir County Assembly, Yusuf Hussein went missing in the capital city of Nairobi. Leaders from Northeastern region claim he was abducted along Enterprise Road on 13 September 2024 at around 9 p.m. while aboard a taxi.
At a gunpoint, they forced the driver to stop the vehicle and they drove away with our colleague.
Tunataka serikali kwa sababu hawa ndio watu wa security watutafutia vijana wetu, mheshimiwa, na vijana wetu wote waletwe, kama wako na hatia waletwe kotini.
Led by Wajir County Assembly Speaker Abdullah Yusuf, they expressed confidence that the court will help unearth the whereabouts of the missing MC after security apparatus failed to do so.
Every day that goes without us having any information about him is troubling to us, is a very big concern to his community, is a very big concern to his electorate, and is causing instability in the Wajir County.
We are not living in the era or the times where laws are ignored. We are not living in the dark era of arbitrary decisions and unchecked power.
The county assemblies of Mandera,
Wajir, Garissa have indicated here they have trust in the law and in the due process. And that's why they have instructed me to go to court.
Even as the details for the missing Dela MCA remain to be scanty, the leaders and the MCAs are calling for transparency in the whole exercise in locating their loved ones. Elsewhere at Makadara Locos in Nairobi, Lucinyo Kabi Mathenge took a plea after numerous postponements. She is accused of obtaining 640,000 shillings for the sale of a parcel of land in Ruai, which is allegedly part of the Embakasi Ranching Company. Makadara Principal Magistrate Mary Njagi ordered a release on condition that she deposits a cash bill of 100,000 shillings.
Na obtaining by false pretense. So, huwezi peana board kuliko ile amount unadaiwa.
Well, for me, I think there was mischief. There was mischief somewhere. But finally, I'm happy that plea has been read because that is what we wanted.
Pre-trial is set for 23rd October 2024. Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
EACC arrests the chairperson of the Consortium of Civil Societies in Kenya. We're taking a short break. When we come back, we'll tell you why. Stay with us.
Ni aje mam, umeupdate token meter yetu?
Ai, kuupdate token meter yetu? Hiyo ni nini?
Acha nikuchanue mam. Leta simu yako. So, kuna hii text tulipata from Kenya Power. Kwa hiyo text kuna code 2. Weka code ya kwanza ku reset token meter. Alafu weka code ya pili ku update token meter.
Haya, ni hivyo tu. Wacha ni
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has arrested Peter Odhiambo Agoro. Peter is the chairperson of the Consortium of Civil Societies of Kenya over extortion of 3 million shillings from a chief executive officer over state cooperation. Odhiambo was allegedly arrested at a Nairobi hotel where he had gone to receive 1.5 million shillings as down payment, believe it or not. EACC spokesperson Eric Ngumbi says that the bribe was to stall pursuit of publication of accusations against the unnamed chief executive officer. Now, the commission has also arrested 2 senior port health officials at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport for issuing yellow fever vaccine certificates to foreigners arriving in Kenya without administering vaccines. Oh no. And in return, what do they get? Bribes.
Sasa kuna njia mpya na rahisi ya kucheza avieta. Dial *419# kwenye simu yako na ucheze wakati wowote.
Great
Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Edition coming to you from KBC here in Nairobi, Kenya. If you come to pay us a visit, we are located along Harithuku Road. Now, a police officer stationed at Kwetu Sacco in Emali town, Makueni County, was seriously injured after being attacked by a man armed with a panga who then stole his firearm. The assailant was pursued by border riders who stoned and set him ablaze after he emptied the stolen gun by firing all of its bullets.
On Tuesday afternoon, residents of Emali town in Makueni County witnessed a horrific scene after a suspected assailant was stoned and set ablaze after attacking a policeman. According to eyewitnesses, the unidentified suspect attacked the police officer with a panga, inflicting head injuries before escaping with the officer's firearm.
Jamaa amekuja akiwa amejificha, akiwa ameweka panga hapo kwa mnini kwa suruali. Akapata askari alikuwa kwa simu. So akaona huyo askari hakuwa tayari. Akachukua bunduki, akamkata na mpanga kwa kichwa.
However, irate border riders did not give the suspected criminal a chance and proceeded to mete out mob justice.
Tukakimbizana na yeye. Jamaa mmoja wa ndudhi akamgonga. Kuanguka chini akawekelewa mawe.
The injured officer was rushed to a nearby hospital where he received first aid.
I work at Best Care Hospital as a nurse manager, and today around 2 p.m. we received a patient. He was bleeding so profuse. So the doctor who was on duty took over the emergency, and we did stitching to him to arrest the bleeding, and I think right now the patient is doing okay. We are waiting to refer him to Nairobi West.
Kasichana Marsha, Prime Edition.
Now, police are investigating an incident that resulted in injuries of 2 journalists who were, covering a fire incident at a company known as Roto Tank Company. Fred Mochama is a cameraman from the national broadcaster KBC, and Victor Mogoa works for K24. They were allegedly assaulted by staff from the said company as they attempted to document the unfolding situation. The confrontation not only left the journalists injured, but also caused significant damage to their cameras. The journalists reported the assault at Ruben Station, police station, and the incident raises concerns about press freedom, right to access of information, and safety of journalists when they are in the line of duty.
Destruction of property. The response was so quick. I want to thank all the teams who assisted us.
Unfortunate incident there. We hope they get justice. Now, stakeholders in the mining sector in Migori County have intervened to address disputes in the country's largest mining site. The intervention comes just days after clashes erupted at the Makalda gold mine that left several people injured during the fracas. This and more in our county's news roundup.
The dispute erupted after supporters of Migori County Governor Ochilo Ayako and those backing local member of County Assembly Felix Okwanyo were involved in confrontations over the Makalda gold mine.
The conflict that came up is as a result of
we are still investigating, but it is the two owners of the company that are conflicting each other. We are investigating to know exactly what the conflict is all about, and then we'll be able to give the way forward.
Meanwhile, residents of Githunguri constituency in Kiambu County have benefited from a free 3-day medical camp courtesy of the UniMediLink from California.
Watu wengi hawakuwa wanaweza kufika hospitalini sababu wengine wako na matatizo ya pesa, lakini hapa tunakuja mguu na tunahudumiwa vizuri.
Elsewhere, an attempt by embattled Nakuru County Assembly Majority Leader Alex Langat to obtain an order to suspend his ouster from office was met with resistance by UDA members of County Assembly.
True, there are external forces that are forcing us to oust him, and those are the people and the citizens of Nakuru County who have been complaining of negligence.
At the same time, Helpage International has launched research in Siaya, Kilifi, Kisii, and Embu counties in a move aimed at establishing challenges facing elderly persons and recommending solutions.
Tumepatana na washikadau kujaribu ku-identify what are some of the solutions and interventions tunaweza come up nazo za kuweza kusaidia wazee na kupunguza hizo issues za violence and abuse towards older persons.
And finally, students at the Kabete National Polytechnic went on rampage on Tuesday, protesting against reduced capitation, which they say has adversely affected their learning.
Each time you are opening schools, there is an increment of 10,000 Kenyan shillings. How do you expect such a parent to raise that money, yet even a single meal the parent cannot afford?
The hostels, conditions zake, they are so bad. Anataka kupandisha from 5,000 to 80,000. Na tayari yashaka kwa fee structure.
John Kahiro, Prime Edition.
We change gears now to business news. My name is Wairimu Jenga. Now, Kenya has signed a memorandum of understanding with Danish shipping line Maersk to start offering locally trained seafarers with work experience on the sea. Maritime and Shipping Principal Secretary Joyfrey Kaituko says the training is part of a number of agreements that will also see Denmark equip Bandari Maritime College with modern facilities.
Kenya is planning to increase maritime activities in a bid to make the country a continental shipping hub. To increase its regional shipping market share, Kenya has signed an agreement with the second largest global shipping line to train local seafarers. Part of the training will see Maersk shipping line offer sea time to local seafarers for 12 months.
You who is trained as a seafarer or as a cadet and hasn't gone to sea for their practical experience will not be able to get employed, because that is like someone who only got theory, training in theory, but never got the practical aspect of the training.
In a raft of agreements with the Danish maritime companies, prospective students will undertake engineering and deck training in Denmark. Bandari College will also be equipped to start offering advanced global training and certification.
The only challenge we have is when it comes to the engine and deck officers, because we don't train many of them here in Kenya. We only have 4 training institutions.
The mutual certificate recognition agreement that was signed between Kenya and South Korea in 2021 will also be operationalized to enable Kenyan trained seafarers absorbed in the Asian shipping market.
There is one MOU, and that is the most important. It is the MOU on mutual recognition of certificates. That holds the key to Kenyans being recruited as seafarers by Korean shipping companies. And Korea is at an advanced stage of reviewing that MOU.
Kenya is seeking support from Denmark and South Korea to host the Green Shipping Conference in February next year. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Revenue from electronic commerce in Kenya is expected to reach 125 billion shillings in 2024, according to statistics by the German data and business intelligence platform. Now, e-commerce platform Kilimall says it's planning to open more logistic hubs in the country to deepen trade between Kenya and China. O'Brien Kimani talked to Kilimall Executive Vice President Z Bin about the company's business prospects and filed the following report.
Relations between Africa and China has been growing steadily in the last 10 years. And according to the International Monetary Fund, last year, total trade between the two regions stood at $282 billion, and these numbers are expected to go even higher in the next decade.
The growth of electronic trade has defied all projections and expectations, where 20% of all purchase is online these days. The numbers have been boosted by lingering impact of COVID-19 pandemic. According to estimates by Insider Intelligence, e-commerce is expected to hit $6.3 trillion globally in 2024 before accelerating to $8 trillion in 2027. In Kenya, the online shopping craze has been growing at a double-digit rate, where 3 out of 10 transactions are done through e-commerce platforms. Online trading site Kilimall is eyeing more logistical hubs in Kenya to meet this growing demand.
Kilishop means a pickup station. They work with us. They earn money from this. This is one example. And also riders. Riders deliver the parcels to the customers. They gain revenues by each parcel they delivered. So this way, how to create the jobs in Africa is what we really want to do.
When I met with Kilimall Executive Vice President Xie Bin in China early this month, he was optimistic that Kenyan online trade will continue to register better growth in the coming days. In Africa, Kenya is the third biggest e-commerce market behind South Africa and Nigeria.
Currently in Mombasa, we already have a warehouse, and we have also a warehouse in Nairobi. We are providing the service to all across Kenya because our e-commerce company, we are an e-commerce company. So all Kenyans in different regions, they can buy from us. And we deliver to them based on our logistic network, which is all across Kenya.
But for Kilimall, Kenya is their important and biggest market. The company is working on bringing more products to the online market away from the traditional items like clothes, electronics, and home products. Bin says Kilimanjaro Mall will continue to link Chinese traders with Kenyan consumers in a bid to grow trade between the two regions. O'Brien Kimani for Channel 1 Business.
Now, officials of the Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives should be prudent with the decisions they take to avoid costly mistakes. The cause comes amid allegations of an illegal withdrawal at the umbrella Sacco, body worth billions. Now, Cusco is holding a national Sacco leaders symposium in Nairobi, attending among others the cooperative principal secretary Patrick Kilemi.
During the National Sacco Leaders Consultative meeting convened by the Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, it emerged that non-remittance of deductions by employers to Saccos is a persistent challenge. This has prompted Saccos to individually and collectively explore ways of mobilizing compliance.
We are planning continued advocacy and engagement with the Commissioner for Cooperatives to resolve these persistent problems on behalf of affected members.
Officials of the cooperative movement have been facing the task of trying to win back confidence following mismanagement and claims of embezzlement of Sacco members' funds in Saccos and even at Cusco.
Review of our bylaws to ensure that we are compliant with the current operational needs and the regulatory framework. We have engaged our regulator to make sure that we are within the regulatory space in our operations and business.
Transformation is hard. It requires bold decision and bold step. The board that is currently in Cusco, actually this is the most difficult job that you can ever have.
The president is seized of this matter, and we are getting help from the topmost office of this land. we'll get to the bottom of it.
Mwalimu National Sacco officials say they are stepping up automation and oversight of operations to drive growth.
We are in the journey to ensure that we become a digital Sacco so that we can be able to attract these young people into the institution.
Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Officially, the draw date ya Master Player ni tarehe 6 mwezi wa Oktoba. Zidi kucheza, jaza tiketi zako ikiwa ni star 570 hash option 400. Tucheze, tusaidie, tushinde!
Ni aje mam, umeupdate token meter yetu?
Ai, kuupdate token meter yetu? Hiyo ni nini?
Acha nikuchanue mam. Leta simu yako. So, kuna hii text tulipata from Kenya Power. Kwa hiyo text kuna code 2. Weka code ya kwanza ku reset token meter. Alafu weka code ya pili ku update token meter.
Haya, ni hivyo tu. Wacha niulize wa mama wangu wa chama kama wameupdate token meter zao, wajipange. Update token meter.
Thank you for staying with Prime Edition. Now, investors who had secured documentation to set up at special economic zones risk having their licenses revoked due to non-activity or slow pace of investment. Investment Promotion Principal Secretary Abubakar Hassan says the government is considering increasing the registration fee special economic zones to ensure only serious investors are given the go-ahead of setting up at the 38 gazetted special economic zones in Kenya.
Kenya enacted the Special Economic Zone Act in 2015 that, among others, establishes preferential tax zones as major pillars of economic growth and development. Since then, 38 special economic zones have been gazetted. However, activity remains low, with some investors dragging their feet.
We are thinking of degazetting these ones, because if you have gazetted this land and you are not developing it, there is no use. And I hope that your first policy advocacy that you will push the government to do is to increase your fees for setting up in our special economic zones, because you can see we are doing a lot of work to make this program competitive.
During the official launch of the Association of Special Economic Zones, Investment Promotion Principal Secretary highlighted the incentives offered by Kenya for those investing in special economic zones.
We have also removed taxes for local backward integration. 3, we have also removed withholding taxes for investors who are being financed through foreign money, so there will be no interest on or withholding tax on interest paid.
Special economic zones investors say there have been challenges such as regulatory and legislative issues surrounding labor, transportation networks and logistical hubs, as well as institutional and governance challenges delaying prospective SEZs.
We should give timelines to the association to regulate the industry, so that we have our own way of saying maybe we give them two years for them to come up with the gazettement.
We will work together with the government to make sure that all the relevant policies are enhanced. The same way as government is working with KEPSA, CAM.
The Association of Special Economic Zones has been founded to address issues of unemployment, slow rate of foreign direct investments, and bringing together players to address their issues.
Well, that marks the end of tonight's business news, but we do have more stories on our website, including recommendations by the sectoral working group that was appointed by the Ministry of the ICT Authority and Digital Economy. That is it from me. My name is Wairimu Jenga.
Thank you, Wairumo Jenga, for keeping us up to speed with the latest in business. Let me take it away. It's now time for sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, the Kenya Junior Starlets head coach Mildred Cheche will on Thursday unveil the travelling squad for an 11-day training camp in Spain. The team is preparing for their debut in the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in the Dominican Republic next month.
Speaking during an open media session, the Junior Starlets tactician Mildred Cheche said the Spanish camp will boost their preparations ahead of the forthcoming debut in the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, where they will not be out to make numbers but make their presence felt as one of the African representatives with Nigeria and Zambia.
So far we've improved on several areas that we had gaps, and also strengthened the team, because playing internationally is different from playing regionally or through East Africa. So now they are going to play the best of the best in the World Cup, and we need them prepared. So playing against better teams in Spain will prepare them fully for the World Cup.
Tumefurahia Kenya imeenda juu. Kenya hata haikuwa na historia ya kwenda World Cup, lakini this round tumeenda.
The Junior Starlets has been training at the Kasarani Stadium for the last 2 weeks, besides playing a number of FKF Women Premier League sides as part of their build-up. They will camp in Spain next month for intensified training before they head to Dominican Republic for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup, scheduled to start from 16th of October to 3rd of November this year.
Most of the time tujacheza hizo games za nje, at least we tunaenda huko hivyo kuchezea tona. Tucheze na wazungu maybe. Juu tujazoea kucheza nao.
The Kenyan team qualified for the World Cup after they beat Burundi 5-0 on aggregate in their final World Cup qualifying match. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Thank you, Dan, for that report. Moving on, Kenya risks being sanctioned by the World Anti-Doping Agency for non-compliance following budget cuts by the national government this financial year.
According to ADAC, the Treasury budget cuts from 288 million in the 2023-2024 financial year to 20 million in the 2024-2025 financial year have grounded the agency's ability to carry out tests as per the requirements of the Athletics Integrity Unit. ADAC, through its outgoing board chairman, Ambassador Daniel Makdwalo, is appealing to the government to move with speed and reinstate its budget to restore parity, lest the country is listed as non-compliant, which will lead to the country's athletes being barred from international events.
I believe that ADAC is well positioned to continue the fight against doping. The battle is far from over, but I'm confident that with the structures that have been put in place, the ongoing commitment from stakeholders and the continuous improvement of our anti-doping strategies, Kenya will remain a beacon of clean sport.
According to ADAC CEO Sarah Shibutse, unless the issue is addressed urgently, Kenya risks being stripped of the hosting rights for both the 2025 CHAN and the 2027 AFCON finals. The agency, however, is still engaging the government to have the National Treasury reinstate their budget to 288 million Kenyan shillings.
The world kickboxing champion Dennis Leonidas has promised to build a ground for practicing judo known as shiajo in Kenya in order to uplift the sport.
Dennis stated this after donating judogi kits to Gitodhua Primary School in Ruiru today in a ceremony that was attended by the Kenya Judo Federation President, who is also the President of African Judo, Shedrack Maluki.
The testament of our happiness is in the faces of these children. We've been having challenges associated to lack of judogis, and this morning we are delighted that finally that issue has now been put to rest.
Kids. Kids are our future nation, our future countries, and the future world. Kids understand that they need to share, they need to help each other, and they need to work together. So when they grow in future, they're going to propagandize the world, love, and friendship.
The world champion said he will work closely with the Kenya governing body to ensure the sport is introduced in grassroots, starting with the school curriculum.
Школа дзюдо стала первым социальным проектом.
The first Judo was the first social project, that which I am introducing in Kenya. With the possibility and the ability, I am going to support the Federation of Judo in Kenya so as to realize that possibility in life.
This is a first project that is going to be undertaken by the Russian government and also led by my brother here, Dennis. It is a worthy cause in terms of judo development.
We are not only encouraging young ones to have talents, but we are also encouraging them in self-defense, which I can see here. And these are very, very great.
He also added that despite Kenya's performance at the Olympics, they can still register better results if they were well trained. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Thank you, Dan, once again. Turkish Airlines men and Vav Kliko women were crowned champions of the 7-goal polo tournament held at the Nairobi Polo Club. Turkish Airlines men secured a commanding 7-3 victory over Light Blue thanks to an impressive performance by Mauricio Andre and Bobby Carrier. Alexandra Watson and Julian Katin displayed outstanding skills that ensured Vav Kliko clinched the women's title. The tournament marked the third event of the 2024-2025 Nairobi Polo season. Focus now shifts to the next event of the season, the Chakras and Carols tournament, which is set to take place in December. Harambee Stars tactician Engin Firat is confident his charges can pull a surprise against the highly fancied indomitable Lions of Cameroon in their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualification matches slated for the 7th and 15th of October this year. Having collected an impressive 4 points out of a possible 6 in the qualifiers, Firat says the boys are not afraid of Cameroon ahead of the crucial fixtures. Kenya is perched at the top of Group J after they played out to a goalless draw against Zimbabwe in Uganda in their first match before they beat Namibia 2-1 away in South Africa. On the other hand, Cameroon has had a slow start in the qualifiers. They narrowly beat Namibia 1-0 before the goalless draw against Zimbabwe. And those are all the sports stories we had for you tonight. My name is Karen Kibet. Have a peaceful night. My colleague Mboya will be back with more.
Thank you, Marakwet, for that sporty update. And of course, many thanks to Wairimo Njenga, also was here earlier on with the day's business. And just before we go, there is your favorite weekly program, The Military Tales, that I will read before I leave on this day that the music legend Teddy Kalanda Harrison died. And his brother, John Katana, confirmed that Teddy passed on earlier on today in the afternoon, around 3:30, after losing a battle to multiple myeloma cancer. He had been diagnosed way back in 2018. And we can only wish the family comfort during this difficult moment, and for the legend, rest in peace. Now, before we leave, the military drivers play a critical role in logistics and in operations of any army in combat. They transport troops, they transport equipment, they transport essential military supplies across challenging terrains for the success of any given mission that they have been deployed to. So Sergeant Halake Guyo, retired, served the Kenya Army for 32 years as a motor transport officer. Our own Ben Troy Njue visited him in Isiolo sometime this week, and we now leave you with a report that he filed on military tales. Thank you for watching. I want to thank our sign language interpreter, Susan Thuku. My name is Mboya. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
We are in Isiolo County, a melting pot of different cultures, traditions, and even backgrounds. It is also the home to the 78th Tank Battalion. They say, when a tank succeeds, victory surely follows. A tank can weigh anything to do with 30 to 70 tons, and they have to be transported to the battlefield. We are here to file a story of one military veteran who was transporting tanks.
We pay a visit to a former military driver at Mama Safi in the outskirts of Isiolo town.
Mimi naitwa Halaki Guyo Jatani, ni katika kabila ile ya Borana. District yangu ni Marsabit. Mimi nilizaliwa 1955 katika mpaka ya Kenya na Ethiopia, ambayo inaitwa Sololo, location ya Uran. Tukiwa na wanaume 3 na wasichana 3. Tukakuja kulelewa hapo district ya Marsabit sisi wote. Baba yetu. Mama aliaga nikiwa miaka 5 mimi. Sasa baba ndiye alichukua jukumu ya kulea sisi. Hata baba aligonjeka. Sasa mimi baada ya baba kugonjeka nilianza kufanya kazi. Sasa nikaingia town utafuta kazi. Sasa nikaandikwa na mama mwingine akaniambia, wewe utaniuzia sambusa. Nikaanza kazi ya kuuza sambusa, nauza. Nikajuana na watu. Hizi sambusa nazungusha kwa maofisi huko. Masomo sikusoma mzuri, naenda Gumbaro. Naanza mchana, jioni naenda shule ya Harambee usiku. Nasoma mpaka saa 3, narudi nyumbani.
As a young man, Guyo was very interested in joining the disciplined forces, and a chance knocked his way in 1974.
Naona ile watu wanajaa Land Rover, nikafurahia sana ile watu wanaingizwa Land Rover. Napenda hii kazi ya jeshi. 1974 June tarehe 17 jeshi wamekuja kuandikana. Nikakimbia, nilikuja namba 10. Kesho yetu tukapelekwa Nairobi, Langata. Hapo ndo tulianza kozi yetu. Kuanzia Julai mpaka Novemba tukafanya passing out 3 Kenya Rival na president yetu ya zamani Mzee Jomo Kenyatta.
After pass out in front of the then President Jomo Kenyatta, Guyo joined the transport battalion.
Mimi kabakishwa 3 Kenya Rival. 3 Kenya nilifanya miaka 5. Nikapewa cheo kingine inaitwa staff soldier. Na hiyo cheo nikiwa sina koblo, staff soldier. Na hiyo wakati hiyo ilikuwa na pesa mingi, 75 shilling. Wakasema uende transport battalion, ujifunza gari, uchukuzi, kahawa. Kamaliza course, nikabaki TPT. Baadaye nikapelekwa kikozi ya helicopter hii 50 SEB. Inaitwa 50 ya Calvary, kwenda kuwa driver ya upande hiyo. Hapo nimekaa mpaka 1989. Na hiyo kazi yangu ilikuwa ni kubeba mafuta ya helicopter, mali helicopter naenda. Kama ni Mandera napeleka mafuta, kama ni Lodwar napeleka mafuta.
In 1989, he was selected to further his training and was assigned the role of transporting battle tanks.
Nikaambiwa niende kozi ya trucks and equipment kujifunza Mack truck, gari ya kubeba vibaro. Maliza hiyo kozi ya Mack truck, nilirudishwa kikozi hiyo ya transport kwa sababu ya hiyo kwenda kubeba kifaro. Hiyo ndio nimekaa hiyo kikozi, nimekaa kuanzia 89 mwezi wa 5 mpaka 2005. Nikiwa 50 SEB nilipewa koblo. Kurudi pande hii kwa loader tena nikapewa sergeant. kazi ya MTO nikafundishwa. MTO ni kama motor transport officer. 2005 ilifika wakati yangu ya kuretire sasa, nikiwa na rank ya sergeant. Baada ya kudumu kwa miaka 31 kwa jeshi, 31 years.
As a motor transport officer, Guyo explains how a tank weighing as high as 70 tons is ferried.
Hii lami si yake. Hii lami akitembea atamaliza yote. Inapandishwa. Kibaru unakujia upande, unaona unalete tirela 2 rivers, alafu unaweka hivi. Unaona mali kama hii iko juu. Si hapa iko juu sasa. Na tirela si umefungua mlango. Ikisha fungua mlango si unasongesha. Si kibaru hiyo ndio style yake ya kujia baba. Vile tu unaona tinga inapandishwa. Ungesha hivi na tinga inakuja juu. Hivyo tu. Unafunga na cheni na kuelekea kazi. Hiyo ni kazi kidogo hiyo. Hakuna thunderboy. Wewe dereva tu.
The army veteran also participated in a United Nations peace mission during the Sierra Leone civil war.
Kaka mwaka moja huko. Watu ya amani tu. Tumeweka amani, tumeweka kambi tofauti. Sierra Leone ukiingia town, unakuta watu, karibu watu wengi sana wanainua mikono ambayo imekatwa. Mikono hivi. Mikono nusu. Ukiomba, mikono nusu. Vita yao ni mbaya. Kwa sababu hiyo vita yao, unakuta wakati tulifika tumeelezewa iko soko kubwa sana. Na hiyo soko kubwa yote watu wote walimalizwa. Vita ni mbaya kabisa. Tunaomba Mungu watu wa Kenya wasikuwe na watu aina hiyo. Tunaombea Kenya amani. Kenya ni nchi ya amani. Kenya ni nchi mzuri.
After 31 years in service, Officer Guyo retired from the army with an exemplary record.
Kwa service nimetoka kwa color service, yani nimetoka mzuri na jina mzuri. Jina mzuri, hata document yangu iko pale. Imeandikwa exemplary. Naona katika ile ukitoka unapewa kitabu ya kuonesha tabia yako. Nami iko paka Isiolo tu. Nasema jamani, hii watoto nimelelea huko, wataenda hii barabara hii itakuwa ni tabu sana. Nikasimama hapo, nikapata polo duko juu Tuluroba, nikajenga, nikalete watoto.
6 years into retirement, the veteran secured a job with the United States Security Agency operating in the Middle East.
Nimefanya kazi Iraq. Jordan kwanza, ndio tumetrainiwa na watu ya Amerika. Unafundishwa kazi, kwanza unaangaliwa kama ni mtu ambaye unaweza kufanya kitu, kama ni unatestiwa kwa bunduki aina yote. Alafu na unaelezwa hali vile iko Iraq huko. Kazi hii inaitwa World Protection Service. Ni kama guard. Wako na kambi kubwa. Hizo makambi zote tunachunga. Niliingia 2011 nikarudi 2013.
As many soldiers serve almost half of their lives in the forces, Guyo notes that reintegration into the community is sometimes an uphill task.
Vile tumeretire, kukamatana na wananchi kwanza inakuwa ngumu kidogo. Unajua sisi hii kazi tunaingianga tukiwa vijana kidogo. Na umerudi kama huko mzee. Wakati nilikuja kuna watu ya kilani yangu sana, kilani hapo nimekamatana na hawa. Hao ndio wamefanya nijue town haraka. Natembeza mimi.
He has now embarked on assisting his fellow retirees as the Defense Forces Old Comrades Association chairman in Isiolo.
Wale retirees yote wa Isiolo County ndio walinichagua kuwa chairman. Kama mtu ya retire hapa ya jeshi akikufa, mama na baki na watoto. Na saa nyingine unakuta huyu baba hajawacha mama kitu chochote. Wakikuja kwangu wanaleta shida. Ndio nitengeleze laini ya yeye kupata ile pension. Nimetumikia kama wanawake karibu kama 37 na wengi wakapata.
In his free time, he cherishes time with his family and friends.
Niko na nyumba 2 tayari sasa. Huyo ni mama kidogo na hiyo ni kubwa. Hiyo yote ni watoto 13. Wamesoma. Wamekuwa kubwa tayari. Nikaa mzuri tu. Tuko na hizi vitu mbuzi. Hiyo tu ndio tunafuatilia. Nalima shamba hapa mali inaitwa hapa area ya Meru hii. Naye mama yako na soko hapa. Hata yeye anatafuta pande yake. Tuko na soko kidogo hapa kwa service hapa. Hiyo tu kidogo ya kujimudu.
Having worked in places of conflict in the continent and beyond, the former driver reiterates the importance of peace.
Na naomba Kenya wakae na amani namna hiyo vile iko. Wasikuwe kama nchi zingine yote wanapigana. Kwa sababu mimi nimetembea, nimeona kitu mingi na maneno mingi mbaya na macho yangu nchi za nje.
This veteran's dedication to serving the country is a true testament to his unwavering patriotism and selflessness. For Military Tales, I'm Ben Troy Njua.
Sasa kuna njia mpya na rahisi ya kucheza avieta. Dial *419# kwenye simu yako na ucheze wakati wowote.
Are you a talented artist? Or are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? But money can be very hard to find for an upcoming artist. Don't worry, Studio Mashinani has got your back. Sign up on ajira.co.ke to book a session with our music and video producers across the country. Work on your music, jingles, spoken words, and even podcasts.